Cool. I just clicked record. It's been however long. But so when you get higher there, right? Obviously here you reject, then you held the second time up and it went down. I'm kind of shocked this didn't double you up, but we saw that on the bigger time frame. Walmart doing the same thing here. I would want some sort of retest here. Um, so to me it looks like a version of a Vami. It's not an actual Vami when I zoom out because this is the new high, but it's a fresh high. Okay, and a fresh high is when we're in um we're in here, like, oh, we're in calls. Let's say we're in calls right here. It's a fresh high, right? Like since we entered, this is the high. It's clearly not the all-time high. And looking at Walmart here, this this appears to be a little bit of a um possible head and shoulders pattern. Oops. So we have to get over this to really have some headway. So that is what I'm looking for. The first resistance on Walmart would be like this. Obviously on March 3rd, see this is at the bottom, the date. So I go here and then I look at that line on the bottom. And if you want to save that date, this is called the vertical line tool. And you go like that. And you could you could do that and be like, oh, watch that day or something. And you can make it light. So you can do whatever you want. But um so this has to clear for me to get long. Um, which would be once again something like that. That's what would happen in a perfect world. And why
And
am I
by
placing
clear
it?
KT, are you talking about like the top of that wick on that day? That
No, I
red
need
wick that
candle
you were looking
bodies.
at there?
I need
Handle
candle
body, okay.
bodies. Here's the thing though. If it does clear with the wick so you could get first of all, I put this here. As I'm doing this, how high and low, I'm looking here. I'm not just placing this somewhere random like, oh, up, down, and up. My cursor's here and I'm looking right there. Like, where did it last reject? And it could be here. That's the last candle body. You could turn off the crosshairs, but that's what I use them for. So let's go back to what you said. Um, so if I'm there, right, we're in this zone area. We don't know what's gonna happen. We don't know if we're gonna go like this and then there. Maybe we do this. Oh crap, I just messed it up. I'm gonna redo that. Okay, just like I said earlier, if you get lower, you get higher because it's like a double jump on a trampoline or loading it up even higher. If you just were to do this, it's not going to go as high. It might just go back here or go here. But if we get lower first, like there, it's gonna really launch. Look at that right there. That's like another spot. And I'm looking left to right at see how we were just in this. I mean, last time we were here on the upside was January 16th, and we went from 90 to 104. You know, you could say something like this, another little falling broadening kind of thing. So it's like, do we get that over here? I just copy that line. Let's say it happens from there. You know, it's not going to repeat. They're like snowflakes. They never are the same. But let's say something like this. I don't know. But yeah, now let me go back to what you said about the wicks. So let's say above here. Let me take that off. the exact color. It's gonna look like a candle. See how it's that same color? Well, now I use hollow candles, but look, I can make my own candle. See how easy it is to Photoshop stuff on like X or whatever? All right, so let's say we do this and do this, right? And I just said, hey, I want to clear this level. So Bulls had all day to hold that, 102.38 and eventually didn't hold it. We closed right there at 102. What if this happens? You closed above it, but you have some price action there. Well, I just showed you guys over here that you really need the full body to be above that level, right? So let's say I were playing this here. Let's say I'm like, hey, I'm seeing that setup on Walmart, the down then up move. This is that quote loading zone that I'm talking about. When am I in? What's my plan? That's when I'm in. Um, right there. And my stop loss would probably be like the 50% would be the here. That's the last time we came up. Because if we lose this spot, we're down. And like I said, pretend it doesn't say Walmart one day. Let's say this is like the 1 minute chart or 5 minute, whatever you trade. So there's something called a um, piercing line or a dark cloud cover. They're opposites versus piercing line. Something really cool to study on YouTube. Okay, so I really hate how it does that preview. I don't know how to turn it off. Piercing line dark cloud cover. All right. DCC. See how this one here, maybe that 50% mark closes below the 50% mark of the candle. This is a dark cloud cover pattern. It's bearish. It's a reversal. Okay. So usually when you go underneath that 50%, I hate how that's blurry. It's like makes me feel like I'm blind. Usually when you go under that 50% mark, that means you're going to continue lower. Of course, it just opens the same one I just had open. Okay. So DCC, write that down. Dark cloud cover. Sometimes in the chat I say DCC just to like see who's like knows what it is or whatever. Play those Jedi mind tricks sometimes. I'm trying to find one that shows the full reversal. So you're like, hey, it's kind of holding, and you have this support catch that could happen here, but that 50% mark is key. Does it always reverse? No, it doesn't always reverse. Okay, but you look at your risk reward, right? It's like your risk reward is like a slice of pizza. The crust is your risk, and the reward is a whole slice. And I even think about that when I'm drawing this stuff because it literally looks like a pizza, right? So that's the pizza, and here is this kind of looks like the crust, that little area there, but this is your risk. Like I was just saying earlier, like I don't want to lose this spot. I'm in there. Okay. When it crosses that, I'm in. So we're going up, down. I totally messed that up. Let's say you're in and you missed your exit. Well, you really need to make sure that your entry holds there. What would be really bullish is you get this right on top of this candle body. See that? Those candle bodies are lining up, right? Right there and right there. It's kind of like that little zone, like your runners. If my runners don't take that out, I'm good. Now, does this happen? Yeah, we've seen multiple W's just in this session. What if you get stopped out? Okay, so this is a stop out. Crap, I'm stopped out. Well, I just went over how when you go lower, you go higher. So the second time bulls defend this level, you're back in for a higher move, and your first trim is that first stop because we created a new level. So what price action does, creates future levels. All right. Now, price action creates future levels. So, bears and bulls were fighting here, and bulls said for 2 weeks, we're not going to let it go lower. Bulls came strong, brought it lower. Bulls came stronger, fortified their troops, took it higher. Obviously, we just saw this happen. Okay. Um, Now, why did this level get lost? As I was saying earlier, I don't even know if I was recording then, but as I was saying earlier, right? If you're like, "Oh, this is my level. I'm in when if we lose this, I'm in puts," right? Like it depends on it. Is the bear flag going to go down, right? Especially losing this other spot. There's like no way you could short it unless you just timed it perfectly, right? Clearly that didn't hold. And then if you move it here, look at that level. This is another entry. You could have just been like, "Oh, I'm in here." We clearly rejected it there. So it's like you have this whole zone that's happening here. And then this is your risk. Okay, let's flip this around. And let's say you messed up and you're a bear. All right, you're a bear. You're in puts. You're like, as soon as I lose this level, oh crap, we make this little vommy. It's like a micro vommy. I'm trying to follow like KT's lesson. If we get higher, we're gonna get lower. Okay, cool. So now you're in puts. You go here, your risk, your stop loss is that last level. Look at these touches. That this isn't a touch. Okay, the first time through isn't a touch. That's a touch. That's a touch. Wherever it reverses. Um, but you're in there. You had to hold through that wick. You're lower. You're trimming, and you're out. You know. Um, Probably not explaining this very good, but and then we have an extended version of the Vami here. It's just like I'm never in new highs ever. It's new. It's just like hey, a new restaurant opened on Main Street. Are you gonna go in? Nah, I'm gonna wait till they iron out the kinks. I'm not gonna go in and have them burn my steak and have a long wait. I'm gonna go in 6 months. Right? That's the same thing. Like I will be shocked if this doesn't um come down because it's this like whole thing is like a big rising wedge, you know? Let's take a look at the volume. Maybe that'll help us out.
So KT,
Yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
why would you not be thinking, if you're thinking, well, it's a new high and you don't want to get in at the high spot, why not thinking to start looking at puts at that area,
I'm
for the
not against
reversal?
that, but generally speaking, puts are tougher because stocks go up most of the time historically.
Hmm.
Um, Now, if you take, this area, clearly there's more red candles than green, right? We lost this level, we're coming down here. But when that's happening, I'm thinking, oh, we're due. We're due to go back up. That's what I think because we do that most of the time. We mostly go up, you know. It's like, it's like if you have a child and I'm like, my dog bites all the time, but he hasn't bitten anybody in 2 weeks. Do you want to have your child play with him? Hell to the no. You know what I mean? Now it's like most of the time we go up. So to me, red candles are long entries. That doesn't mean I don't play puts. I totally do. But you're fighting a trend that is so strong, you know? Um, Another thing on this bearish side, which I agree with you could be put entry, is look at volume is decreasing as this is going. So when would I enter? How do I know when to enter? When you get volume that's higher relative to that. Okay. And I can show you this by just looking left. There's a guy on our Discord called Look Left because you always look left on stocks for what's going to happen. Clearly, see how that's flat? This is called field goal post volume. you have this flat, this, um, and the second one is where you get a bigger move. So I would have been comfortable doing puts for sure on the second one. Here we went from 95 to, we did touch 88, came back up again, a Vami, right? The second time we did the goalpost, see how that's goalpost? The second time, now, first of all, this is a high volume reversal flush. You do not want to be short on that high volume because they often reverse. Just like you don't want to be long here, um, even though look, this would have worked. But anyway, on the short side, um, this here it looks like a finger. See how it's like fingers and that's pointing. Then you have the volume drop off, and we have a micro version of what I think is happening right here. Here, big bear flag into this like gap area, and we rejected right there. So this is like a major low. If you guys are watching Walmart, huge level that we're almost running into. I would do puts on Walmart. When the volume comes in like this, it's gonna it's gonna go higher. Like especially if you get above this on volume and you start to like let's say we get let's see. Let's say Monday we close under 95 on higher volume than this day. I think we're going to start to fall down a little bit. And you can get that it's called an island bottom where out of nowhere we saw that on the 65-minute chart that I was looking at. Remember Starbucks kept having like price action out of nowhere. Like if you start to get this and then now you have a bear flag to get in. So, but puts are tough cuz it's like we're going to spike up. We're going to. So a lot of times it's a long entry. You're just like, all right, let me wait for the bounce. That's why when we're flushing, you guys won't see me like oftentimes alert puts. Um, I'll be like, I will draw a trend line and wait to get in there. And I'm like, okay, boom, I'm in. This is where I would have got in here. We rejected there. And I'm like, okay, so we break this trend line and we even retested it here, I'm in. And you even retested it a third time. Right? If you call this day a retest, which it's a whole day, it's not like the 1 minute chart. So this entire day held that wick again. You have another entry here. That's why volume can be helpful, but it's not an end all be all. We're going from 89 to 97 on lowering volume. So if you're like, oh, I'm not in this play, it's bearish because of lowering volume. Well, I just said stocks go up. So it's like you can ride this wave like however long, you get in the trade. Uh, Stocks do not need volume to go up. They need volume to go down. Flushes are like the biggest volume days are sells every single time. So when people are like, we're going up, but the volume's low. Yeah, that's what it is. It's stairs up, elevator down. It's always slow ride up because everybody sells at the same time, but they buy different times. So lowering volume there. I'm not a big Walmart guy. I don't know why I went to this one or whatever, but and I wish I would have recorded everything earlier, but that's cool. I'll jump on and throw me questions, DMs, and appreciate you guys being here. I will upload this somewhere, and you guys are the best.
Awesome. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks to you guys.